mentioning. Let's bring up Apple TV.
I forgot about that one.
Apple TV is obviously 8. GB Crash gives 8 for Netflix. Apple TV is, this is just different. It's kind of on its own. Obviously, it's for those people that are, iPhone lovers and Mac users, and they want to have that Apple TV, so they have it anyway. So why not get the Apple TV Plus or whatever, that streaming service and watch what's on there. There's apparently there's the morning show is on there. It's a morning talk show starring Reese Witherspoon, Jennifer Aniston, Steve Carell, which I didn't even know about. There's a post-apocalyptic drama starring Jason Momoa, again, didn't even know about, called C. There's another one called about the global space race, if it continued. A coming-of-age story. There's apparently a bunch of stuff that's coming on. They're rebooting a Steven Spielberg series.
West Side Story, right?
No, Amazing. It's called Amazing Story. So maybe redone of West Side Story. I don't know. And apparently there's a lot of other stuff on it. The Carpool Karaoke is on there, with James Corden. So there's a lot going on for Apple TV. And then Apple TV also is the app itself too, which or the device itself too, which allows you to obviously have access to the other apps. But I think, and it's only $5 a month for Apple TV, which is probably, if we're saying giving Apple TV any credit, its price point is probably the best part about it, because for $5 a month,
absolutely,
you can convince me a lot more to get it. But I mean, what are you thinking about that? I mean, Apple TV, just off the bat, what's your initial impression on, did you even know anything about it?
I had forgotten about it until you had even brought it up. I remember seeing pictures from an Apple event where they announced it, and they had a bunch of celebrities who would be part of it there too. But yeah, I really can't say I know anything about the content on there. Some of the titles you brought up do sound a little familiar, but maybe outside of diehard Apple fans, I don't see this one latching on too much. Aside from its insane price point, which is even still isn't that much greater than some of the other streaming services.
Because honestly, with Hulu, or if you take advantage of Hulu's student account, Disney Plus at its base price, it's competitive, and it is low, but it's definitely not the best. It's not the best. I don't know if it makes up for everything else, right? And so, but GB Crash made a good point. It's recent. They'll have to scale the price up when they have subscriber base. It's true. But the thing is, they'll scale up the price to put more content out. And the thing is, I don't know if their content that they have out currently is anything big. And this brings me into a discussion that I definitely want to have later down the road. But I think we could talk about it as we go through each one. And that's a staple, right? I feel like when you're talking about what you need, a staple show, and that basically says, this is why you need to get our service.
Right.
Every channel or everything has it. Netflix has Stranger Things, and that's big. This is the reason, right? And The Witcher has become that as well for them. HBO had Game of Thrones.
And
it's
probably Westworld now, right?
Now they want Westworld to be that. It's not exactly that, I don't think, but for some people it might be. I keep it for that. I mean, Watchmen was that reason for a little while. We have Amazon Prime kind of has some shows that they've tried to make that work with. I know,
they definitely have a couple of popular shows. I don't have Prime. I read it, so I personally haven't seen any of them, but
right.
I've definitely heard good things about a lot of those shows. I know they're trying to get a Lord of the Rings thing.
The Boys. The Boys is one for that one. The Boys has been one. That was a good one. The Lord of the Rings show will be in. We'll get to that because that's definitely one of them. And then obviously, I don't know what Hulu's doing. We'll get to them. And then, but but each of them typically tries to have. Disney Plus has a ton. Disney Plus, that's one of the things they're doing well, is they have staples for every type of the branch of their audience. And that's something Disney Plus has, and we'll get to that later. But Apple TV doesn't have that, as far as I could see. And that's one of the biggest issues with them, is like, you see Apple TV and you're like, well, why should I get it? Right? I mean, and that's the thing, is some of them take advantage, some of them have different things. So not all of them are like a straight up staple, but some of them are like, this is just a good, like, like this is a good place for watching content that's already been created, right? Or something like that. But for the most part, they have something. And I just don't see that on Apple TV. So that's one of my biggest issues with them. The price point's probably the biggest advantage. But I think this is going to be something where it's just people that like Apple are going to get it.
Yeah. Yeah, just people who are big fans of the Apple brand, and people who like associate like Apple with being like innovative and high quality.
Yeah. And I honestly think what's going to end up happening is Apple TV is going to be a service that's like just provided to people that are getting just getting iPhones or something. Like, hey, when you get an iPhone, you get Apple TV, and then you're like, okay, cool, I'm not going to watch it.
Get like a free month.
Yeah. And I honestly, I think I think we can move on from this one, but I'm just gonna, let's go simple. What do you think survivability rating for that one would be? Where would you put it?
Probably about 6, just because I know Apple's got money to keep throwing at it, and I know Apple has a very big diehard fan base. So, and like I haven't seen any of the stuff on there, so I can't judge it. It might be good, it might be terrible.
But isn't that part of the problem?
That is part of the problem. They're not doing a super great job with marketing it, but I think just from what kind of money Apple can throw behind it and the type of fan base Apple has, like I think it'll at least get a good couple of years. Okay,
I was gonna put it at a 2, but you inspired me. I'm gonna put it at a 3 for survivability. I honestly think they're gonna realize this isn't their market space. They might keep it around, but they're going to pull all of the creative content out of it. And they're basically, if they're going to stick around, they're going to stick to just basically a place to watch other content. Just a thing for people that get iPhones. No one's going to pay for it. It's going to be something free. I doubt it's seeing anything. All you missed was our Netflix review. We talked about a couple other shows. We're giving survivability ratings, Darth Pascal, to basically every streaming service. We're trying to decide, out of 10, their likelihood to make it out of this thing alive and prosper. I just gave Netflix a survivability rating of, I think I said 7, or did I say 6?
You gave Netflix a 6.
I gave it a 6. Yeah, I gave it a 6. And then we just talked about Apple TV, which I believe has no chance, but I'm giving it a 3 because Jared decided to give it a 6, and I don't know. I think that's worth something, so I'm going to pull it up to a 3, and think if it's going to survive, it's going to survive with Apple alone. Just basically people that get iPhones, and then they're like, well, I get a free 3 months of Apple TV, so I might as well keep it. That's kind of how I think their market space is.